Okay, what do we have this time? Let's see. Okay, wants to be anonymous. Fine. So he's 16, started playing Overwatch about 2 months ago. Wow, talk about late to the scene, but 16, I guess that's fine. Currently high diamond, started mid plat, and they want to know how to go pro at Overwatch. Okay. Um, so here's what we're going to do here. If you want to go pro because financially you're like, hey, wouldn't that be a cool job? I'm going to strongly recommend against it. There's really not enough money or enough eyeballs in the system anymore. Overwatch 2 is going to help, but it's not going to be as big as Overwatch was. Bold prediction, I know. Blizzard's reputation is in much worse shape than when they released Overwatch. Back then, their biggest scandal was probably the Diablo 3 release not being very good, but they'd since fixed it. Now they've had the Hong Kong stuff with Hearthstone. They had Overwatch just being balanced nightmares. We've seen Warcraft 3 Reforged. They've turned more into evil Activision and less into the Blizzard that we all remember being wonderful. And people sort of get that. Now, for those of you that go, hey, Temporal, we're smarter than that. We know that's not how it works. We've seen things like the screenshot of the Call of Duty boycott where no one actually boycotted it. You're right, I'll grant you. But the other thing that I'll say here is most people who came and played Overwatch initially, some of us really enjoyed it, stuck around. Most people who came and played it initially really didn't have a great time. Team based elo, not the easiest thing for people to get over. And I think we're going to see much the same where Blizzard isn't suddenly going to get better at balance. This is not going to be, oh, the game is more popular for this reason, etc. It was very smart of Blizzard to make Overwatch 2 PvE centric, is that's more in their traditional sweet spot and also has a broader appeal. And the thought is, hey, if we can give people good memories of Overwatch from a PvE campaign, maybe that'll get them to stick around and be more willing to watch Overwatch League. Good idea. Still doesn't really seem like it's going to be strong enough. But that's monetary reasons, etc. The other reason you could want to go pro is you could go, I just want to prove to myself that I can do it. We've all been there. We've done things like that. Good on you. If that's the reason that you want to go for this, I'm not going to knock it. We've all done things where we go, hey, what can I achieve? What can I do? That's human nature. That's self-improvement. That's good stuff. So the single biggest thing that I run into when I'm teaching people how to get better at this game, because to go pro, what you effectively have to do is you have to be in the top 1%, or really less than that, the top 1% of 1% of people who can self-improve on playing a video game. So you need to drastically ramp up your self-improvement. You already moved, it looks like, from platinum to diamond in less than 2 months, so that's good, but that's effectively easy compared to what we need to keep doing to make that improvement curve steep. So getting into that time allocation, most people, when I initially start working with them, I saw that they were spending like 80% of their Overwatch time on playing. Or the other group of people is they're spending way too much time watching educational content without actually pausing between that educational content consistently enough to go work in those things that they had learned. They were really just entertaining themselves with education, which, hey, I get it. It's a valid form of entertainment, but it stops really improving you at that point. It just lets you tell you that you're improving yourself because it's good for you. So what I instead like to do is recommend that you spend about 40% of your time on gameplay, 40% of your time on reviewing your own play, and 20% of your time on research. There has to be a method to this, though. You can't just go, okay, I played 6 games in a row, now I should spend an equal amount of time doing review. That's not going to work. I mean, it's okay, but we can do better, and again, you need to be hitting that sharp improvement curve. So what we want to do is we want to, how do I want to put this? We want to play, say, pick something to improve on. find a thing that you think, hey, I'm going to improve on. And I'll explain how to do that in a minute, but find something that you know you need to improve on. Decide that that's what you want to focus on and focus on doing that. Your general gameplay can fall. You're going to focus on having that in the back of your mind, having that sort of in the front of your mind, even as you're playing a couple games. It might be 3 games, it might be 3 days worth of games. But what's going to happen is for some amount of time until you feel that that's like 80-85% stuck as a new habit for you, that's what you're focusing on. You're not going to play 3 days worth of games in a row to do this. You might play 3 games in a row, but you are almost always going to more frequently than that be going, okay, I played 1 game or I played 2 games. Now I'm going to stop and I'm going to actively review in the replay viewer, was I actually integrating and doing this new habit that I'm trying to work on? You should be thinking about that every time you die while playing. You should be thinking about that between every game you play. But like I said, really after every second or third game, you should really actually be pulling out the replays and going and reviewing, hey, was I actually implementing this habit that I'm trying to be working on right now? That's what you're going to do to make sure that you're setting that in there as a near permanent improvement. The other possibility is as you're reviewing, you'll say, wait, I thought this habit was going to help me. Maybe now I need to reevaluate because it's not doing what I want to. That's not to say, oh, hey, I'm losing games while I'm working on this habit. That is irrelevant. That is, hey, as I'm studying this more closely, occasionally you will find a habit that you were going to be working on. Looks like, oh, now I understand it a little better. I don't think it works the way I want to throw it out. But most of the time, you're going to continue working on your habit. And once you hit that point, and that could be you play 2 games, you stop and review a game, you play a game, you stop and review a game, you play 3 games, you stop and review 2 games, going something like that. Once you feel you've got that habit 85% plus locked in, then you're going to reach your list of new things to work on, and you're going to add a second one. And this is now the thing that is your primary focus, is what you're thinking about, what you're doing, what you're thinking about when you die as you play through your next games. You don't want to forget about your old habit because that's only like 85% solidified, so that's still got to be there, but your main focus is this new habit, and you're doing that. And now you're doing the same thing, except you're sort of doing it with both habits, with the main focus on the new one, and going, okay, I died, let me go look at this, or okay, I'm played a game, now let me review a game in the replay, and okay, I can see I'm sort of doing this new thing I want to be doing, or oh, the old thing I'm doing, that's dropped a little, maybe I need to focus on that a little harder, or oh no, that is sticking, that's fine, that's locked in now, good. If that's locked in, you can now effectively stop thinking about it. You're only working on one habit. And then once you get that habit up to 85% or so, you bring in from your list of things to improve on another habit to work on. Really, the key to getting better is going, oh, hey, I'm going to keep, as a player, I'm going to keep ingraining good habits into me repeatedly. It doesn't matter that you go, oh, hey, my SR is dropping because I'm working on this new habit, so my other gameplay is falling. Because once you've successfully implemented like 5 new habits, for example, you're going to go, okay, now I'm working on implementing this 6th habit, and my general level of gameplay is dropping as a result, but my new general level of gameplay with these 5 positive habits implemented, and those habits could be things like when I use flashbang, how I come through high ground, what my ult usage looks like. When I say habits, we'll get to again how you go find these things to be habits. But my 5 habits that I've implemented, and I'm working on this 6th, and working on the 6th is lowering my level of gameplay. But my lowered level of gameplay, because of these 5 habits that I've improved on, ingrained, etc., is now higher than my original level of gameplay is. So that's fine. Ladder doesn't matter. Ladder is for adding habits, for getting better. It is not for winning, gaining SR, etc. Gaining SR is just a result of having built in these good habits. Okay, so I think I've explained how we go through that pretty well. So now you need to figure out, okay, I understand the 40% play, that's to ingrain the habits. I understand the 40% review, that's to make sure the habits are actually being ingrained, and occasionally to throw out a habit that I thought was going to be good that actually isn't. When you're doing that review, you can actually jot down if you see something else when you're doing the review, like, oh, hey, that was wrong, or oh, hey, my aim's a little shaky here, maybe I need to work on those flicks, or oh, hey, I don't think this was the right way to take the fights. You can jot down quick notes, but that's not the main focus. That kind of goes on your list. The other thing that adds things to your list of potential future habits to add, because you're only ever working on one or two at a time, is your research portion. So if you're spending about 20% of your time on research, that could be good Overwatch coaches like Spilo. You could watch them stream, etc. But you can't just watch them doing VOD reviews of low-level players. You have to go find their game analysis. Or that could be professional players in the role that you want to learn. So what you're going to do when you're doing that is I don't recommend watching these people live. That's way too slow, way too inefficient, and you don't care about their chat. You don't care about what they have to say 99% of the time. In fact, I'd recommend muting them. Instead, you're going to watch small sections of their gameplay and go, oh, hey, I see this. I saw how he played this one control point. And you're going to digest that and look through that and go, okay, what did I see in there? How do I want to think about this? How do I want to word this? How is he using his cooldowns? What did his pathing look like? When is he using ults? Is he using ults in situations you disagree with? Why is he doing that? You're going to start looking at those types of things, sort of pulling them apart, figuring out if you can understand why he's doing things the way he is. And then once you've found an interesting thing to grapple with, you're going to go find another pro player and see if you can find a very similar or identical situation with them. And did they do the same thing? And if they did do the same thing, you're going to go, okay, I understand it. This is a good thing to do. Do I do this? Maybe I should put this on my habit list if I don't. And then that potentially becomes okay, this is the next thing I could work on. Or if they did something different, you can look and go, what am I not understanding? Is the situation actually different when I think the situation is the same? Or did one of them make a mistake? And if they did, you need to be able to figure out which do you think is better. Doesn't matter if you're occasionally wrong on this. You can go look at a third. You can go ask a coach if you have one, hey, which is doing it right, etc. But you're going to look at that, and it helps if you can get a little analytical on it and say, okay, I think this person did it right, or I think this person did it right in this situation. And then you understand it a little better. You've built your understanding of the game a little bit, which is nice, but not actually the most important thing to work on. The most important thing is habit building, except for very specific shot calling type roles, etc. So you go find, okay, this is what I want, and then you go, okay, I have this on my list. So that's how you build your list of things that you then go, okay, these are my potential things to work on list that I'm going to turn into habits. So yeah, that's how you would improve if you wanted to go from diamond to the professional level. It's really just a question of, can you do that better than everyone else can? That's what it is. And the first step is, hey, I've got to be much faster at learning than they are. And not just learning, not watching educational content, but actually learning as muscle memory, engaging it so you've seen the situation. Not I've seen the situation 1,000 million times because I just play ladder nonstop, but I've actually specifically worked on ingraining this new thing that I want to do. I've actively focused on making that a thing. Was there anything else I need to cover here? We covered what your work breakdown should look like. I don't care if that drifts a little bit. I did 40-40-20. That can drift a little bit, and that's fine. Some people can learn a little faster with less review. They can mentally do it as they're going, and it sticks better. If so, lucky you, that's great. But if your play is getting to like 70-75%, I don't buy it. You're almost certainly at that point cutting out something you should be doing, and that play is seeing diminishing returns. Yeah. I think you already know this, but obviously, if you do want to go pro, you are going to pick a role, main tank, flex support, whatever, and you're mostly going to work on the heroes in that role, even if the heroes don't necessarily fit these days what we traditionally have thought of on those roles. You're going to think of, okay, this is a position in an Overwatch League team which needs to be able to play these heroes, even though that somewhat changes over time. So yeah, that's going to be it. You guys know the drill at this point. If you have questions, feel free to let me know. If you guys have your own requests that you want to make, you want me to answer things for you with my Overwatch knowledge, with my general wisdom, or if you want me to go do research for you to figure out an answer, I'm potentially open to any of those things. Just hit me up on Discord or in the comments, and I'll quote you a price. Thanks. Temporal out.